Dear world leaders,
it is quite unfortunate to see that Nigeria has become a sort of malaria headquarters, where millions of children and families are suffering untold hardship from the scourge of malaria endemic. For years, as a private tutor and as a teacher in the early grade settings, coupled with the fact that I have written over 20 children titles used in schools across Nigeria, I have come to realize that some of these malaria cases and deaths are completely avoidable, and that is much more so, especially as malaria is preventable. So, my family and I, that is to say, my wife, my daughter, and I have been working tirelessly day and night to see how we, using our experiences as a teacher and authors, to educate other Nigerian children and families to take the bull by the horns to defeat malaria. Nigerian families spending over 2 trillion naira every year to treat malaria is, to say the least, disheartening, especially in the present day economy and knowing full well that malaria is preventable. And when I am talking about malaria being preventable, I am talking about children and families being able to do things by themselves to defeat malaria, to get malaria out of the way. With this understanding and the research that we have done personally, working day and night and spending money, our savings as a family, we are contributing our own quota as well-meaning Nigerians to seeing an end to malaria endemic by coming up with a series of storybooks, story apps, and computer video games called Kick Out Malaria. There are 6 main titles under our Kick Out Malaria series as follows. Storybook titles namely Kick Out Malaria Waste Pickup and Disposal, Kick Out Malaria Plug the Puddles of Water, and Kick Out Malaria Clear the Drainage Channels. Computer video games namely Kick Out Malaria Game 1, Kick Out Malaria Game 2, and Kick Out Malaria Game 3. We have the storybook titles also converted into story apps to make sure that whether the children and families want to go for printed editions or digital, whatever version that will be comfortable for them to have this crucial knowledge they need to defeat malaria, they can have it within their reach. In these storybooks, story apps, and games, we have simplified the process of defeating malaria. We have simplified what they need to do to kick out malaria. It is common knowledge that malaria and other diseases called neglected tropical diseases, NTDs, come with a dirty environment, and children as little as 3 years old can do a thing or two to keep their environment clean to start with. For example, a child that knows how to unwrap a candy, take the candy out of the wrap and put it in the mouth, can also dispose of that wrap properly with the right knowledge. We have put this knowledge into this series of storybooks and games, knowing full well that children can do a lot as far as keeping the environment clean is concerned. It is because of that knowledge gap that is why if we should go all around Nigeria today, we would see a lot of dirty places. As a teacher working with children for years, I know that if children were properly educated about the environment, they would go around and pick up dirty items in their communities on their own free will, knowing that doing this has a lot to do with living healthy and staying alive to fulfill their dreams. We have made it in a way that is relatable to everyone for easy adoption. To begin with, children love to read storybooks, and they love it when it is very colorful. And here we have a set of beautiful storybooks with pictures so colorful that they practically jump off the page. Beautiful pictures illustrating types of waste, how to sort waste into the right container, helping children to understand the simple concept of proper waste disposal. And also, we have put this same concept into computer video games with fantastic cartoon characters that represent average Nigerian children, talking of Audu, a little farmer, and Chinyelu playing the doctor. These characters, in their voice, children's voice, telling them what they need to do and showing them how to go about it, by eventually doing it for children to see and do it along. As earlier said, we have spent our savings to come up with these materials. It is a finished product, registered and copyrighted both in Nigeria and in the United States of America, with trademark ascertaining that these products belong to us. It is our intellectual property. It's a product that every household needs to have. At this point, we have tried our best as well-meaning Nigerians to make these products happen, but we have to get the product to the hands of Nigerian children, homes, and families that need it most. That is why we are calling on you. All we are asking for is ordering, buying some copies for public schools and those poor households spending over 2 trillion naira out of pocket every year to treat malaria. Before, malaria is called the disease of the poor. Now, the case has changed completely. Malaria is now the one causing poverty for millions of Nigerians. Take for example, dear sir, if 2 trillion naira were to be used for things other than malaria, let's say to build companies or as stipends for households, it would go a long way to help them. But these same poor households, whether to borrow it or beg for it or steal it, every year they have to part with over 2 trillion naira to treat malaria. That can stop right now. Households can start working now and saving to benefit their lives and those of their children with our Kick Out Malaria storybook and game set. All we need now is to get this product to the schools all over Nigeria, to the hands of children and parents. We have done it in a fantastic way that parents will love to gather together with their children to enjoy these stories and games. It is a collective effort. Everybody needs to work together. Surprisingly, children have a way of telling their parents what to do when the children know the right things to do themselves. We are harnessing the power of knowledge to kick malaria out of Nigeria. We can do it, and now is the time. There are nations in the world that defeat malaria, and no matter their methodology or approach, cleanliness is one of the things that help them, because a dirty environment is where all sorts of diseases and sicknesses thrive in. So we have put all these resources together to help Nigerian children and families. Children, families, and households will love this story, app, and game set. They will enjoy it, and then they will go out there to do the right thing and get malaria out of the way. We need the tools to produce this work for the benefit of the Nigerian populace.
Dear world leaders, as part of the Kick Out Malaria project, we have a circular economy initiative called Repurpose to Wealth to help African households and families turn their waste into wealth. Every year, staple foods like yams, worth billions of US dollars, go into waste from African homes directly from the kitchen, leaving farmers with a shortage of seeds to plant and higher inflation for the populace. Nigeria alone loses an estimated 2.1 billion US dollars worth of yam stems per year. With Repurpose to Wealth, we are helping African households and families save on foodstuff, increase local farmers' yields, and add over 2 billion US dollars to African economy yearly. We also have the Kick Out Malaria School and Community Outreach and Train the Trainer program to ensure children and families put the Kick Out Malaria product to use effectively. This program is designed to train teachers, caregivers, guardians, and youth leaders in countries most vulnerable to climate change and the resultant spike in diseases with the fundamental knowledge they need to be better positioned as catalysts for more inclusive climate action, first as informed change makers and climate change agents themselves, and also as trainers and influencers for children. While this program is primarily created for countries with the high burden of malaria and NTDs, it can also be used in any country because climate change is a global problem. The Kick Out Malaria project is flexible and adaptable. That means it can easily be adopted into other climate change and youth development programs like the Peace Corps, the American Climate Corps, the Youth and Environment Europe, the European Public Health Association Child and Adolescent Program, and the Association of Southeast Asian Nations Youth Organization when there is a demand.
Now, don't you think you need to jump on this? Together, we can defeat malaria. Because as it stands, Nigerians can no longer afford malaria. I am Rebecca Jeremiah, co-creator and project manager of Kick Out Malaria.
I am Paul Abayomi Jeremiah, co-creator of the Kick Out Malaria Story and Game series, and a humble author of more than 20 children titles used in schools across Nigeria.
Thank you.
Thank you.